Welcome back to the show, everybody. Happy Saturday morning. Take a listen to these headlines. We got the Federal Reserve prepping for a dollar downgrade. We're going to get into it because Janet Yellen's new target is $50 trillion in national debt. We got Tom Emmer calling Gensler from the SEC a disciple. We'll tell you to who. David Schwartz says, let's talk about the 10 things that came up over the last couple days here. And then we're going to hear from David Schwartz again from back in the day, which I think you need to hear. And technical analysis on XRP, ladies and gentlemen. $33, $7.50, $13, $27. We've heard all these numbers before, but are they still in front of us? Well, somebody roll that beautiful intro so we can find out.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.23 trillion market cap for cryptocurrency. The market is up 0.4%. Good morning, everybody. 28,000 slightly over for Bitcoin, 1868 and change for Ethereum. Tether market cap is 80.3 billion plus, they say. 51 cents for XRP. It's up 0.5% on the 24-hour. Careful what we call progress. And it's off by 5.3% on the 7-day. Good morning, everybody. It's 27 days and counting, ladies and gentlemen. That's where we are to XRP Las Vegas. Let's go. We're less than 50 tickets from being sold out. It is going to sell out. I'm telling you right now, get your ticket. Solidify the relationships you've built for years online. You're going to be at the one place where everyone is going to want to talk about XRP. And if your life is anything like mine, I can't find anybody to talk about XRP to unless I'm on this channel. So make sure you get your ticket. This is going to be incredible. Look, seriously, we are going to celebrate the ecosystem and all of the incredible people and projects, including you, but including the people that are building incredible projects, whether we're talking about Casino Coin or Liquid Acre, all the incredible projects, you know who they are. Sologenic, right? Uphold working with XRP and selling it. I tell you, through this entire time, we're going to hear from some incredible people, and you need to be there. And by the way, one of them is Flare Naming Service. Decentralized way to build identities online with Flare Network, .flare domains for your wallets and websites. And by the way, I want you to know this as well. All early registers that are registered early to get the first crack at these domains will be provided with the password keys to access their firewall to the live application for purchasing domains 24 hours in advance before it goes live to everybody else. Make sure you go down here. Look, click that button for early access. Get yourself signed up. I've already done it. Link underneath the video. Let's get started here. So I'll tell you, there are so many things coming to that conference. You are going to miss something if you're not there. Better get that ticket. This from Matthew Liney says United States are preparing for a possible Federal Reserve dollar downgrade by creating gold repositories, they say here, and allowing crypto payments for state taxes and services. New Hampshire, Texas, Wyoming, Florida will take the lead and make other states less competitive. That's what the current temperature around the block of the United States is, ladies and gentlemen. And it gets worse, and it's because of this right here, largely. So take a look and listen to this.
You're going to drive the debt from somewhere around $32 trillion up to about $50 trillion, correct?
Yes, but what I believe is the single most important metric for judging the fiscal stance of the country is real net interest as a share of GDP.
Okay.
We have
so are you concerned when
GDP.
you're taking the debt from $32 to $50 trillion? Are you concerned who's going to buy that debt?
And now, isn't that what we talk about here on this channel? If there's going to be some kind of a debt jubilee or a global reset or certainly a bankruptcy here in the United States, who's going to buy the debt?
And also, at what rate they'll expect to be compensated for buying riskier and riskier debt. Are you concerned about that?
Well, if the net real net interest cost of the debt remains low relative to GDP, and we're on a sustainable fiscal.
Well, we're not on a sustainable path. You're going to drive.
So there you have it. And we are not on a sustainable course, no doubt about it. Now, look, here's what I would say. I'm not saying that those things won't happen. But what I'm saying is that they're obviously taking it to that point of break. And it does feel intentional. And I tell you something, I think Mark Phillips said it best. He took as soon as I heard that clip, I was thinking something just like this right here. The only rational reason for a country to not be concerned about $50 trillion of debt is if it doesn't intend to repay it. Default, debt jubilee, currency reset, something else? You tell me. Took the words right out of my mouth, Mark. Nailed it. Here's Tom Emmer lambasting Chair Gensler from the SEC, calling him a bad faith regulator and a Elizabeth Warren, Senator Warren disciple. Look, this speaks honestly to the regulatory capture I believe the SEC is under. Gary Gensler made it abundantly clear when he was at MIT that the central monopolists, the legacy institutions, banking firms, would not allow a startup or up-and-coming company to just come into the fold. You would have to give up a certain percentage of ownership of your company before them allowing it, or come up with some token to give them. Take a listen to this clip here, though, because this is the Gary Gensler we've got in the SEC chair, and it doesn't look anything like the guy that was at MIT.
This guy, in my mind, is a bad faith regulator. He's been blindly spraying the crypto community with enforcement actions while completely missing the true bad actors. He says he's got an open door, Laura, but a company like Coinbase, right, which accessed that open door and started working with Gary Gensler's SEC. By the way, Coinbase, I would argue, is one of the most regulatory compliant crypto companies out there. Well, guess what? Gary Gensler might have an open door, but it is an enter at your own risk door, because what he does is, despite several meetings over several months, Gary Gensler's SEC refused to provide feedback on a product. It was called the Earn product that Coinbase was looking to list. And instead, after all these meetings and nothing happening, the SEC slapped Coinbase with a Wells notice regarding the very issues on which Coinbase was asking for their feedback.
It is laughable, but it's also very tragic, especially understanding that the SEC approved Coinbase's IPO. You can't have a government agency like the SEC granting an IPO from one leadership, Jay Clayton, and then having a different approach, turn around and suing that same platform that the same agency awarded an IPO to just because Gary Gensler's there, as I believe serving the central monopolist and certainly the Democratic Party. That's how Sam Bankman-Fried got away with what he did, isn't it? Now let's change gears. Yesterday we covered this Sir Clown Sniper and his 10 things the XRP community needs to get right. And I thought a lot of them were spot on. However, the XRP can't magically just become a stable coin, I felt like wasn't very reasonable. Because we know that there's a real question about demand function if you want to really talk about a stable coin there. Ripple issues XRP every month to a group of people that work on on-demand liquidity and use XRP in a very real market, which means there are very real market participants and very real market makers. And that's why it's not collusion. That's why it's not market manipulation. Just like the Federal Reserve issues bonds, right? And dollars, right? They issue these things to people and then they buy a certain amount back. And Ripple does that on a small scale too off the secondary market as well. They also happen to lease XRP as well. I think those examples are examples of a entity that's exercising sound monetary policy, because I believe XRP is a digital asset, which really serves as a bridge currency. But let's hear what David says here through this thread. I think there's a couple important things to hold on to here. First of all, to go over very quickly, XRP can't be pegged to gold, silver, or anything else. XRP can't magically just become a stablecoin. Stablecoins issued on the XRP ledger are not XRP. XRP ledger requires electricity to operate. XRP can only exist on the XRP ledger, otherwise it's an IOU. XRP has nothing to do with ISO 20022. Interledger does not require XRP. All the money in the world will not run across XRP ledger. The U.S. government is not going to buy back your XRP. RippleNet is totally different from the XRP ledger. A lot of these things are spot on. But David says here, let's talk about 10 things. Nobody can speak for XRP ledger, and these are just my own views. Also, it's dangerous to say something will definitely not happen. Remember that thought as we go through these points. It's dangerous to say something will definitely not happen. I'm talking about what is reasonable to expect here. Let's get into it. He says XRP, for number one, cannot be pegged to gold, silver, or anything else. In theory, nothing prevents someone from trying to peg the price, but it's absurd to expect someone to do this when it's virtually impossible to imagine why anyone would want to do that. I completely agree with that as well. And as we covered yesterday, XRP can't magically become a stable coin. Someone could offer to redeem XRP at some fixed rate for something else to set a floor price. Really? And we've talked about this, and very quickly, we've talked about this because in years past, R3 and David Andolfado from the St. Louis Federal Reserve talked about it too. He talked about the idea of Fed coin and how you could pre-allocate the entire supply of XRP tokens and 100 trillion Fed coin. And Ripple set the precedent for 100% pre-allocation at its inception, 100 billion supply, right? And it says down here, a new coin, basically Fed 2.0, would have to be issued in order to complement the exhausted supply of Fed coin 1.0. And then it goes on to talk about pegging. And it says here, basically, the Federal Reserve were to introduce a $200 bill, it would set a 2-to-1 peg between the $100 bill and a 4-to-1 peg with the 50 or the 200-to-1 peg to 1, right? You see how it works. Look, we're not saying that this is going to happen, but these things have been entertained, and they've been entertained by people that work at the Federal Reserve. David Schwartz is making it very clear here that although he says it could be fixed at some rate for something else to set a floor price, but why would anyone want to do that? Why wouldn't they just issue a stable coin and not mess up XRP? If you want a stable coin, buy one. I've even suggested the idea that you launch a stable coin off a pool of XRP that could be pegged to you could do it, you could do that, right? As what is suggested by David Andolfado from the St. Louis Fed there in the R3 report. Pretty interesting stuff. He goes on to say here, stablecoins issued on the XRP ledger are not XRP. This is obviously correct. You can issue stablecoins on the XRP ledger, but those are distinct assets from XRP. They have an issuer who typically redeems them and controls them, unlike XRP, which doesn't work that way. XRP requires electricity to operate. This is a fun one. He said, I'm not sure how this could be controversial. We don't have non-electric computers with this kind of capabilities needed to run any blockchain. Absolutely. And, you know, just very quickly on the XRP can't magically become a stablecoin. Remember, Mark Carney, former Bank of England governor, Bank of England, longtime partner of Ripple, believes that XRP is, in fact, a global stablecoin. He said it. Remember, the World Bank says it's a stablecoin. Remember, Bank of China refers to it as a stablecoin. What's interesting about this is that I make the argument that I would like to know more about the possibility of XRP being considered a global stablecoin through that demand function that I explained relative to the way the Federal Reserve issues and buys back bonds. Now, going on to here, It says here, XRP can only exist on the XRP ledger. Otherwise, it's an IOU. The XRP ledger is authoritative record of XRP ownership. You can create XRP-denominated assets elsewhere, but unless they're somehow one-to-one tied to XRP or on the XRP ledger, they're not XRP, but a derivative or IOU. That straightens that out. And look, we've talked about this for many, many years, especially in the early years. They referred to IOUs with XRP quite often. And that's really where a lot of the premise and understanding about when something becomes a note really started in me and my conversations, and why we had to entertain. I believe it was right to entertain those ideas up until now. And I think we could still say, until we legally understand, there's still a lot on the table until we legally understand how the U.S. law applies to XRP, the digital asset. XRP has nothing to do with ISO 20022. Now, we have worked very hard to explain this, and David says it very well here. ISO 20222 is a messaging standard for payments. XRP is a cryptocurrency. While there could certainly be projects using both of these things, there is no real inherent overlap between them. So we've explained this multiple times as well. Interledger doesn't require XRP. That's correct. ILP works with any asset. That's the whole reason for Interledger Protocol to begin with, but he goes on to say either for payment or settlement. It works well in conjunction with XRP Ledger Payments Channel. You can use ILP for pure dollar payments if you want, and all the money in the world will not run across the XRP Ledger. Massively scaling blockchains is hard. That doesn't limit use of XRP denominated payments or using payments channels, IOUs, derivatives, etc. Most of the world's payments do not belong on a public blockchain. Now, this is what I wanted to say about that, because I thought Mr. I, Cool Guy, the official Cool Guy of the Digital Asset Investor Channel, had said, and I thought he said it best, that he never took it that way, and I didn't either. I don't take it like, oh, all the pennies in your couch are going to run on the ledger. I take it as a figurative speech. Let's understand this, and we don't need to be David Schwartz to understand it. The XRP ledger is a decentralized exchange for the world. So it is the world's first decentralized exchange. It is the NASDAQ. It is the NYSE, the Hong Kong Exchange, the CME for the world. It is the world exchange. Period, full stop. That, figuratively, means all the money and all the value. Not every dollar in your pocket, right? Not every payment channel. It means every currency should eventually be able to make a market through the XRP ledger. Every value and tokenized asset, if they get it right, should be able to find a market through the XRP ledger. That's the goal, right? Whether they get there or not is another matter, but that's the goal. The U.S. government is not going to buy back your XRP. I have said I thought this is a doomsday scenario, but nevertheless, so was confiscated gold, right? Tying XRP to one particular jurisdiction plays to its weakness rather than its strength. Cryptocurrencies work best when their ownership is diverse. Love that one. RippleNet is totally different from the XRP ledger. RippleNet is an enterprise payment system that eliminates barriers to using XRP ledger for the source or destination or bridge in enterprise payments. RippleNet is a private network based on early versions of ILP. XRP and the XRP ledger really are what you see is what you get. If you're imagining that there's some massive secret, you're imagining. Well, that isn't really true, David. There's NDAs that you can't speak of. So when we imagine things, we can't imagine what you actually know. So to a degree, that part's not exactly accurate because we're retail investors, and you know what? We're not supposed to know. Now, to that point, you can imagine anything about anything. That's absolutely right, and thank God for it. That's where all the great things in the world come from. Imagining things doesn't justify believing them. That's a great point, too. Be excited about is actually there or building things. And that is where the rubber meets the road. And I completely agree with David on that respect, that where the rubber meets the road is where I try to base any speculation or information that I'm looking for that could be a leading indicator of where things may go or may not go. And then I speculate on that. We can speculate till the cows come home, but you got to come back to where the rubber meets the road at the end of the day. And I think those are the great places to say, look, these are the things we know and understand, and these are the things that we're trying to speculate about how they get to that next place, right? Look, at the end of the day, this is just exciting technology. And I think with the way the state of the world is showing itself to be, it's the right time for this technology to come on into play. And if we go back and just in time here a bit, back in 2017, David Schwartz had told all of us, it can't be dirt cheap. That doesn't make any sense. If XRP costs $1, they'd need 1 million XRP, which would cost $1 million. If XRP cost $1 million, they'd need 1 XRP, which would again cost $1 million. So you get the point, and I get the point. And the goal has not been met. We are not at that place. And as David said, we are at a place where if you can imagine and you can believe anything about anything, and that's true, but if we come back to where we are in the development and what we understand about the development and Ripple and private ledgers and the testing and the piloting, yes, there is still time, there's still growth to go. But if we look and marry those ideas with the understanding of what is really going on in the very real world with the monetary system and pushing towards a new target of $50 trillion in debt, and BRICS coalition dumping the dollar and uniting to what would apparently look like death by 1,000 cuts to the US dollar because they're tired of the United States dollar allowing the US and the largest economy in the world to be a bully over them. Whether you agree with that or not, that is the sentiment with a lot of countries around the world, unfortunately. So maybe, just maybe, we could find our way in the future to crossing a path, crossing a threshold that allows us to find a happy medium of how to balance the dollar and get its strength back as a national currency and take off the weight of being a global currency by allowing the introduction and growth of XRP to prove out as a payment currency and maybe eventually serve in a full-fledged bridge currency position sometime in the future. And speaking of sometime in the future, this is Ed Grad Crypto says the 7 ARCs to $27. Boy, this got me pumped up this morning. Let's look at this before we get out of here. 62 cents, 85 cents, and then we're looking at what is it here? $1.30, $3, $7.50, $13 and $27. These are all very familiar dollar marks and price points on the Fibonacci circle or Fibonacci lines that we have seen from multiple technical analysts. And what I find fascinating is we have no idea whether the price will go up or go down. And as with any investment, things can go to zero. But what I find interesting here is that through everything that we've been through, the lawsuit, the down markets, the suppression in the market from regulatory capture, I believe, and regulation by enforcement, the technical analysts are still seeing these numbers regardless of all of that headwind. Now, I find that to be fascinating and something I certainly want to watch out for, but it is not financial advice. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.